New allegations emerge on sexual assault in Hollywood. Stay tuned. Chapman University is taking a stand against sexual assault. Our reporter Brenny Seipold has the details.
Keeping us up to date with Donald Trump's Asian tour, Adam Winton has the latest on this week's Internationally Informed.
Good afternoon, I'm Brianna Greenup.
And I'm Alana Williams, and this is Chapman News. Many are calling for Alabama Senator to drop out of the highly contested Senate race after news broke yesterday that Republican Roy Moore was accused of taking Alabama woman Leigh Korfman on a date when she was just 14 years old, kissing her and taking her clothes off. Since then, 3 more women have recounted similar accusations taking place in the 1970s when they were underage. Moore responded by claiming that the stories are sabotaged by the Democratic Party, whose candidate in the Senate race, Doug Jones, is rumored to be neck and neck with Moore in the polls. But the president continues to support the senator, believing that if the allegations were true, Moore would do the right thing and step down.
Today, new accusations in the sexual assault scandal that seems to be sweeping the country. The latest comedian Louis C.K. accused of masturbating in front of 2 women in a hotel room at the Comedy Arts Festival in Aspen, Colorado, back in 2002, has released a statement this morning. I have spent my long and lucky career taking and saying anything I want. I will now step back and take a long time to listen. I wish I'd reacted to their admiration of me by being a good example of a man and given them some guidance of a comedian. Since those accusations, 3 more women have come forward, and his new movie, I Love You, Daddy, was abruptly canceled, as was an appearance on the Stephen Colbert Show.
Another case of sexual assault against Kevin Spacey has surfaced in Massachusetts, but this one was from 2016. Heather Unruh, a former Boston TV news anchor, held a press conference on Wednesday to announce that the actor groped her then 18-year-old son at a restaurant on Nantucket in July of 2016.
The victim, my son, was a starstruck, straight, 18-year-old young man who had no idea that the famous actor was an alleged sexual predator. But whether he was over 21 or not, Kevin Spacey had no right to sexually assault him. There was no consent.
Unruh's son refrained from going to the local authorities last year and claimed to have only told his family members about the incident. Unruh said that the bravery of the Harvey Weinstein victims inspired her family to come forward. Spacey is now the subject of a criminal investigation by the Nantucket Police Department, according to the Boston Globe.
Chapman University is taking a stand against sexual assault. Our reporter Brenny Seipold has the details.
This past Tuesday, the men of Phi Gamma Delta hosted the It's On Us event with the help of the CARES group at Chapman University. The goal of the event was to raise awareness regarding sexual assault on campus and discuss the importance of consent. Chapman students filled Memorial Hall to be a part of the discussion, including senior Kaylin Batstone. His father, Dr. Batstone, was the guest speaker for the evening, sharing his personal experience with sexual assault and his efforts to put an end to it.
I want to talk a little bit about my own journey as a bystander, which turned into an active bystander. You see, today, Not For Sale is known around the world for intervening and empowering women who are at risk.
Dozens of students, both male and female, attended the event and later signed a poster pledging to be an active bystander and practice consent.
Things like this just kind of open up the conversation and make people feel like they aren't alone, and it is okay to feel the way that they're feeling, and if they are attacked, to realize that it's not crazy, it's not just them.
Many students feel that events like It's On Us will make a positive impact on Chapman's campus.
I just don't understand how people can't get behind this cause, because protecting women and men for that matter, but just making sure that everyone is safe and happy and not taken advantage of is just so important to me. And that's why I was so touched up there on stage to see this many people come out. He spoke so well, Mr. Batstone did, and tonight felt like a really good night. Like maybe it was a step in the right direction.
Tonight proved to be a success in sparking conversation and educating students on how often sexual assault occurs right here on Chapman's campus. The It's On Us event is only one of the many opportunities put on by the Chapman Cares Group to bring awareness to sexual assault. For more information about the CARES program, check out the Chapman Cares Facebook page. Reporting from Memorial Hall, I'm Brady Seipolt, Chapman News.
Keeping us up to date with Donald Trump's Asian tour, here is Adam Winton in this week's Internationally Informed.
That was the wrong. Donald Trump and the First Lady Melania took a tour around the Asian countries this weekend to speak with foreign leaders and put pressure on North Korea. Here is how the tour is going so far. On November 5th, the president landed in Japan to speak with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, a longtime friend. He then moved to speak at an Air Force base just outside of Tokyo. His speech was not directed at North Korea, but more about the U.S.-Japan military alliance and thanked them all for their service and keeping the citizens of their countries safe. He then flew to South Korea on November 7th, where he would meet with the new South Korean President Moon Jae-in. Trump was met by protesters claiming that he's instigating a war on the Korean peninsula and pressuring South Korea to purchase more U.S. weapons. In his speech, Donald Trump spoke directly to the North Korean leadership, describing the country as a failed state, calling it a hell that no person deserves. He also stated that by building up these nuclear weapons, they were putting themselves in grave danger. On Wednesday, November 8th, Trump met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in a lavish welcome ceremony where Xi took Trump to the Forbidden City, the palace in the heart of Beijing, to dine, making Donald Trump the first U.S. president to enter the city since the founding of the People's Republic of China. Early Thursday morning, Trump gave a speech in front of world business leaders to address the unfair trade deficit between the U.S. and China. He stated that he did not blame China for taking advantage of the U.S.
Coming up on Chapman News, it's been a year since the election. We'll hear from an expert on politics here in our studio in a Chapman News special report.
And what's up with the new iPhone 10? Robert Rosenfeld has the story after the break.
Don't stand by, stand up.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
A nation divided shocked itself a year ago with an election that changed politics and our country as we know it. And now, 1 year into Donald Trump's presidency, the elections earlier this week offer the nation a window into how voters view his job performance so far and insights into possible new voting trends. Democrats won up and down the ballot Tuesday night. Despite Trump's record low approval ratings at about 36%, the Democratic victories were the first of the year since his election to the Oval Office. Voters are arguably more progressive this election, with Danica Roem of Virginia becoming the first openly transgender person elected to a state house in the country. The 33-year-old won over 13-term incumbent Bob Marshall, who considers himself the state's chief homophobe. The city of Hoboken in New Jersey got its first Sikh mayor, Ravi Bahala, and an Indian-American city councilman who has personally faced racist attacks. And speaking of New Jersey, Governor Chris Christie was ousted as Democrat Philip Murphy takes office. Voters in Maine supporting Medicaid expansion, with other states expected to follow. Expansion of the Affordable Care Act has also been made more likely thanks to Democratic gains in Virginia. Democrats also won 2 special elections in Georgia, 1 in New Jersey, and several in New York. So, should Republicans be worried? Our own Haley Haskell sat down for an interview with an expert on politics and the presidency. Haley?
Thank you, Brenna and Alana. Not surprisingly, Republicans tried to play down Democratic wins. But should they be worried with the midterm elections less than 2 years away? I'm joined by Chapman political science professor Lori Cox-Hahn. Thank you for joining us, Professor Hahn.
Sure.
So what do you think? Should Republicans be worried about Tuesday's election results? Was this a rejection of President Trump and his new policies?
I think it's too early to say. Obviously, it was not a good night for Republicans, but while the wins that Democrats experienced were significant, you have to remember that especially in New Jersey, that's a very strong blue state. So it wasn't all that surprising. Virginia might be a little bit more concerning, but we have a long way to go before we get to the midterm election.
So House Majority Leader Paul Ryan is saying that Republicans don't have to worry, especially with their new tax plans. Do you think he's right?
He is if they can pass it. If they can't pass it, I think the Republicans are in trouble. But voters will have the final say. And it's hard to say that this is a referendum on President Trump. For some people, it probably was. But there's a lot of work that the Republican Party needs to do to make sure that they hold their voters in 2018.
So the latest public opinion showed that President Trump's support is at record lows right now, but also that he still has quite a bit of support from his conservative base. Do you think that's enough to keep him and the Republican Party in office?
It's possible. One thing about 2018 to keep in mind is that the House may very well be in play. The Senate is going to be an uphill battle for Democrats just because of the seats that are up. Democrats are defending 25 seats, and several of those are in red states. Although, as far as Trump's approval rating, yes, it's abysmal. But when you look at the approval rating for the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and even the news media, they're all actually a bit lower than President Trump. So it depends on your perspective who's doing worse.
So we have to ask you this question because it's been on everyone's mind all week long. It's been 1 year since President Trump was elected. What do you think of the past year with him?
In terms of?
Just in terms of public perception, just overall, how do you think he has done in comparison to what people were expecting?
Well, he's not like any other president we've ever seen. So it's really hard to compare him to any president in recent years. As far as, how he has behaved in office, really it's no different than how he behaved during the presidential campaign. So there really haven't been too many surprises as far as I can tell.
Do you think the presidency has changed him at all, or do you think he's the same person that he was when he was elected a year ago?
I don't think it has changed him much at all. He may be changing the presidency, though. We'll have to wait and see.
That was actually my next question for you. So how do you think he has changed the presidency compared to all the other ones in our past?
He is just so unconventional compared to other presidents. I mean, in terms of his behavior, the public aspects of his office, some people think that maybe his unpredictability might benefit us on the international stage. A little too soon to tell. If Republicans should lose in 2018, will he pivot and start to work with Democrats? He doesn't seem to be too committed to the Republican Party, and he's certainly not part of the establishment. So if 2018 turns out to be a bad year for Republicans, Donald Trump's legacy may be that he's cleaning out the swamp or draining the swamp, as he says, at least on the Republican side, by having a lot of long-term members of Congress lose their seats. On the other side, it's going to be up to the Democrats to see if they can come up with a message in time for 2020 to try to beat him.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Lori, for joining us.
Sure.
All the way through. Take off. Oh my God.
Thank you, Haley, and our guest, Dr. Hahn, for that interview.
Apple's latest iPhone 10 is a hit amongst both customers and critics. But analysts are already talking about what will be the next big thing after the iPhone. Robert Rosenfeld explains why your future smartphone could end up in high-tech glasses on this week's Week in Tech.
Mobile chip giant Broadcom announced an offer to acquire another mobile chip manufacturer, Qualcomm, this week for $105 billion. Both companies are known best for manufacturing mobile processors and other components used by tech giants like Apple, Samsung, HTC, and more in their mobile phones, tablets, and computers. If this bid moves forward and actually happens, it would be the single largest acquisition in the tech space history, dwarfing the current precedent set by Dell at $67 billion. Google's self-driving car company Waymo has been cruising around Phoenix for the past year, offering free rides to people in its open testing group, but now the company is ready to take the next step. Waymo announced on Tuesday that it will be transforming its fleet of self-driving minivans into a taxi service for residents in the area, and are so confident in its self-driving tech that they are moving Waymo employees from the front seat to the back. Specialists will be on hand to monitor the vehicle's performance and intervene if necessary, but the company's track record has been so good in the area that riders will soon have the option to ride in a fully autonomous vehicle, free and clear of any employee. The company is yet to expand the service to any other area or state, but with the recent California legislation, self-driving cars could be driving alongside of you in the not-so-distant future. And a new report from Bloomberg says that Apple is aggressively working on a new augmented reality device that will succeed the iPhone in the coming years. Thought to be in the form of glasses or some kind of wearable tech, the device would allow users to see information like weather, directions, emails, and even FaceTime calls overlaid over the real world through the use of augmented reality. The Cupertino giant released an AR development platform last June, and Bloomberg says the company is aggressively pushing through development of this new product to have it ready to launch as early as 2019. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and that's the Week in Tech.
Stay tuned for some hints on this week's weather forecast coming up after the break.
And don't miss this week's Athlete of the Week spotlight on our best campus sports show. Don't change that channel.
Don't stand by, stand up.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
If you're stressed out, it might just be your commute to work. Southern California tops the list as the nation's most stressful commute. This comes from a study by the Robert Half Employment Agency. The agency studied 27 major U.S. metro areas with the longest commute. They then deducted which caused the most anxiety. While areas like Washington, D.C. took the spot for the longest commute at over 60 minutes, it ranked 8th for most stressful, trailing Southern California by 7 spots. The study suggests that having mass transit options reduce anxiety. Following Los Angeles, the top 5 included Miami, Austin, Phoenix, and San Francisco.
Chapman University is expanding its housing for students with the purchase of Anaheim's Catella Grand apartment complex. The brand new complex is located near Angels Stadium and has almost 400 residential units, capable of housing 900 students. Amenities at the complex will include a fitness center, rock climbing wall, study room, and an outdoor pool. Each unit will also have its own kitchen and washer and dryer. Rooms will cost students about the same as living in the Sandu Residence Center at around $12,000 per year. Chapman is in the final stages of purchasing the $150 million property, with official purchase expected by November 20th. There are no plans to renovate the complex other than to change the sign to say Chapman Grand. You know, it's November 10th, but can we even consider it fall yet? It has been so sunny and warm out.
I mean, I know it's only 70 degrees, but I'm pretty cold. I mean, Caitlin could tell us a little bit more about that. Caitlin, tell us.
Yes, I will. Thanks, Brianna and Alana. And it looks like temperatures are not changing too much this week. We'll be having a partly sunny day here in Orange, California at around 68 degrees, so don't get too scared with those few clouds hanging out in the sky. As for Orange County in total, we see temperatures ranging from around 66 to 69 degrees, so heading to the beach won't make much of a difference in your outfit planning. A little bit of sun and a little bit of clouds never hurt nobody, and the same goes for all of Southern California. However, if you're heading to Big Bear for the weekend, like me, you might want to bring a few jackets. Although, if your weekend plans involve Palm Springs, looks like it'll be a classic Katy Perry hot and cold with an average of around 74. So, bring a jacket, bring a swimsuit, not quite sure. And as far as our 5-day outlook, I would definitely advise you to head on outdoors this week, as it will be a partly sunny, sometimes more cloudy week, the perfect time to start getting prepared for the holiday weather while still being able to function outdoors without too many layers on. So, get your warm pumpkin spice lattes and enjoy them with a breath of fresh air. That's all I've got this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Welcome to the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Tim Wolf. I'm back, baby. Chapman football has been on a tear since beginning conference play. They were on a 5-game win streak going into last Saturday's home matchup against the Claremont Mudscript Stags, and they continued that streak with an exciting and record-breaking performance. Marcellus Hunter is going to start the night off for this senior night with a 14-yard rushing touchdown right there. Claremont Mudscripts would answer, but Deano Pachotti going to pick up his first ground touchdown of the season right there. Another 13-yard rush. And Ricky Bautista and Jacob Isabel, the usual suspects, going to hook up right here. 57 yards and a touchdown. Jacob Isabel untouched into the end zone. That's number 10 for him on the season and sets a regular season record for receiving touchdowns in a season. Speaking of records, Ricky Bautista gets the longest touchdown run of the season on a broken play right here. Cuts across the formation, picks up a block from Joe Muti, picks up another block, and Dom Vacker turns on the jets down the field, picks up the lead block for Ricky Bautista. Bautista dives in. Touchdown, Panthers. Longest run of the season for a touchdown, and Joe Muti also had 2 rushing touchdowns on the night. Panthers win 48-38 and take ownership of the SCIAC Trophy by themselves for the first time since 2014. Now with Bautista and Isabel's records in hand, the Panthers will be going forward into the D3 playoffs. And what better way to start this season than this playoff season than with a great athlete of the week, moving up with Chapman's finest on the football team. I did my best to catch footballs on a surfboard. You've seen that before. But we thought that maybe of wet footballs not quite hard enough to catch, so we actually made it a little bit of a slicker test. Thanks, Tim. I'm here with Ricky Bautista, our athlete of the week, again after setting the record for touchdown passes.
Hold on. He already had his turn. It's time for him to show the love.
All right, fair enough. Jacob also set a record on Saturday, most touchdown catches in a season, so we're going to play a game today. I'm a little bit dressed down, but you'll see why. We're getting a little bit messy today. So we're gonna do 3 rounds of 3 catching drills, but we're gonna lube our hands up with Vaseline. And Ricky's he'll be participating anyways, even though he's not competing this time, and he'll be helping us up. But I think this is gonna be kind of difficult.
Interesting.
All right, let's get started.
First route, 5-yard stop.
Easy money, baby.
That was the worst drop I've ever had in my life.
So Jacob, you were number 8 in all-purpose yards in the nation, number 1 in SCIAC. How's it feel to finish a great SCIAC conference play?
We come out here every day. We put our blood, sweat, and tears on that field right in front of us. And just to have it kind of all come together, especially on my senior season, my last year playing football here at Chapman, it really just means a lot.
Second round, got a slant.
Oh!
You told me at the beginning of the year that you guys wanted to win a SCIAC championship, and you did, and now you're moving forward to the playoffs. What's the mentality of the team now?
You know, the mentality of the team stays the same. Every week, Coach Owens tells us, we play week by week, game by game, one game at a time, and that's how we're going to go into playoffs.
Play action pass, going deep. Set hot.
One-handed catches are now worth 2 points.
You did set the record for touchdown receptions in a season by a Chapman receiver. How does that feel?
It feels amazing. I work hard all summer. I was out on this field grinding with Ricky Batista. We're getting our timing down. I couldn't do it without the line. I couldn't do it without Joe Muty in the backfield. I couldn't do it without Dom Vacker on the other side of the ball helping me out. All those guys, they play a key role in helping me get those touchdowns, those yards.
Ooh. Call me Randy Moss.
Oh my gosh. Are you sure this Vaseline is working?
I mean, it's slippery, see? I just got hit. I did bring Tim a little something. A little L for him.
Couldn't even catch that.
I couldn't even take the L.
So who would have thought that I'm not as good at catching the football as somebody who set the record for regular season touchdown catches for Chapman? Anyways, you beat me. I'm lost again to an athlete. Thanks for watching Athlete of the Week. Thank you, Jacob Isabel, for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
That was definitely my most lopsided loss so far this year, but it was also super fun. Jacob, you deserve that touchdown record, and you also deserve your now 1-0 Athlete of the Week record. On a more serious note, this week baseball lost one of its most beloved players. Roy Halladay was regarded as an incredible pitcher and an even better man. On November 7th, Halladay was pronounced dead in a plane crash off of the Gulf of Mexico. He was a 2-time C.Y. Young Award winner, one of the only 6 pitchers ever to win the award in both leagues. The former Blue Jay and Philly had over 200 wins in his career and is one of only 2 players to have thrown a no-hitter in the postseason. The 8-time All-Star will be eligible for the Hall of Fame in 2019. He was only 4 years removed from his professional career. This weekend, you can soak in all of the Chapman sports action you like. The swimming and diving teams will take on Cal Lutheran tomorrow at 11. That is the only contest that will take place on Chapman's campus over the weekend. But meanwhile, the men's water polo team will go to Pomona and face the Sagehens in their last game of the regular season. Kind of a slow week for Panther Athletics, so the next action will be men's basketball with an away game against UC Irvine on Tuesday. And they follow that up with a home game against La Sierra Thursday night. You can also catch the Chapman football team take on Occidental tomorrow. Oh yeah, that's right, that's not happening anymore. Is that too soon, Oxy? Sorry. The other half of our sports anchor tag team, Michael Hofling, is still competing as a guest sports panelist on NBC LA's The Choice with Fred Rogan. He needs to win the social media poll in addition to the points he receives from the actual debate in studio. You can vote for him every day starting Saturday, right here. That's all I've got for sports this week on the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm Tim Steeply Declined Football Skills Wolf. Thanks so much for watching. Brianna, Alana, back to you guys.
Coming up, Taylor Swift is preparing for the biggest album release this year. Don't go away.
Follow your dreams. Chapman University, a diverse, well-rounded education. Art, dance, music, theater. Empower your future. The performing arts at Chapman University. Create.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, read your lease. No pets allowed. My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
This Tuesday, the Walt Disney Co. ended its ban of LA Times reporters from its press screenings. The LA Times had just published a two-part investigative series exposing Disney's business dealings with the city of Anaheim, claiming the megacorporation isn't pulling its weight in taxes. But Disney was overwhelmed with backlash from other news outlets such as the New York Times, the Boston Globe, and the AV Club, who band together with film critics to lead a boycott of coverage of Disney movies. In a statement put out on Tuesday, Disney attributed their change of heart to productive discussions with the newly installed leadership at the LA Times.
Lots of changes in Hollywood going on, but it's not really what you might expect.
I haven't heard about this. Tristan, can you tell us more about what's going on in Hollywood?
Thanks, guys. Actually, I don't want to be called Tristan anymore. From now on, call me T-Rex. All the celebrities are doing it, so why can't I? This week, a lot of celebrities seem to be having an all-out middle-aged crisis, from P. Diddy to Jonathan Chapman and even George Clooney. Take a look.
P. Diddy, a.k.a. Sean,
I said P. Diddy,
a.k.a. Puff Daddy, a.k.a. Diddy, who announced this week that he would now be changing his name to Love, a.k.a. Brother Love. Over the weekend, the rapper and producer announced in an Instagram post that he would be changing his name once again.
So my new name is Love, a.k.a. Brother Love.
3 days after the announcement, P. Diddy admitted he was, quote, only joking in an Instagram video after media backlash.
I was only joking, okay? I didn't change my name.
He went on to describe that the new name is part of his alter ego, but he will still go by his older names. There must be something in the air, because that wasn't the only name change this week. Instagram food mogul Jonathan Chapman will be legally changing his name to, you guessed it, Food God. Chapman told E! News, now, with millions of followers, people from all over the world look to me for places to go. Inspired by this, I decided to legally change my name to Food God. Known for being Kim Kardashian's bestie, the Instastar plans to post plenty more extravagant food photos for years to come with the new name change. Speaking of middle-aged men seeking change, George Clooney just sold his tequila company, Casamigos, to spirits distributor Diageo for a very large sum of cash. The actor was quoted in the Sunday Times saying, "Acting used to be how I paid the rent, but I sold a tequila company for $1 billion. I don't need the money." A confident statement from Clooney, but I guess I would say that too if I sold something for $1 billion.
Clooney plans to shift his attention from acting to producing and directing. President Trump isn't the only one being asked to stay off social media this week. Actor Tyrese Gibson was paid a large sum of money by a very notable family to help with his daughter's legal fees and to stay off the internet.
to help keep him afloat amid an ugly custody battle with his ex-wife, Norma Gibson. The Smiths had one request, though, that Gibson stay off the internet since his daughter's legal fees are covered. Gibson is known for starting internet drama, most famously with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson over the delays in the new Fast and Furious movie. The actor appeared in a video claiming he was paying more than $13,000 a month in child support.
I'm at $13,000 a month. What more do you want from me? Oh my God. Oh my God.
Looks like his payday for the new Fast and Furious movie couldn't come fast and furiously enough. The biggest album release of the year is upon us. The question everyone is asking is, how do we listen to it? J Money has more on the story.
Album release of Are you ready for it? Well, it's time to get ready for it. Taylor Swift is preparing for the biggest album release of the year with Reputation out today. But if you're hoping to stream it via Spotify or Apple Music, you may be in for a bit of a wait. The singer's sixth studio album is reportedly being held back from streaming services, at least initially. The Bloomberg report cites a week-long wait between release and streaming, with other sources saying it'll be closer to 2 weeks. Spokespeople for Swift and Spotify declined to comment when contacted. So, if the reports are true, the only way to listen to Reputation when it's released today is to buy it on CD or download it digitally.
Every song you're just like, this is my favorite, and then another one comes on, you're like, no, this is my favorite.
The practice of windowing, which in plain terms means to keep an album off wide-reaching streaming services for at least an initial period to boost physical sales and digital downloads, has proven to be a successful formula for the likes of Adele, Beyoncé, Drake, and Swift herself. With so much buzz surrounding the singer's new record, keeping Reputation off Spotify and Apple will almost guarantee it huge first-week sales. Already it has sold 400,000 copies in pre-order sales alone in the U.S. That guarantees Swift will overtake Pink for the highest first-week sales by a female artist this year.
With the album set to release later today, I can slowly let the dread set in on the fact that my girlfriend is going to force me to wait in line with her. It's called compromise, folks. I got nothing else. Back to my two favorite anchors.
That's all we have for today. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and check out our website at chapmannews.tv. I'm Alana Williams.
And I'm Brianna Greenup. See you next time on Chapman News.